authority shapes perception.
You can't confirm that.
Hold on, we're getting word.
Perception shatters under evidence.
We're trying to verify 1 second.
On the record. In theaters now.
We've been covering this story, and tonight there's more. The BBC admitted it manipulated footage of President Trump, not misinterpreted, not contextualized, edited, altered, and then caught red-handed. They pulled the program and then apologized. Case closed? No, not even close. Instead of real accountability, the British state broadcaster turned around and used public money to fight Trump's lawsuit. That means British taxpayers are now bankrolling the defense of a lie their own media created. Trump saw it, went nuclear. A $10 billion defamation suit now on the table. The old media empire is absolutely terrified. Now, here's what's at stake. This isn't about an edited clip. This is the same doctored footage deceptively altered to imply Trump said something he never said during his January 6th speech. It was entered as evidence in an American courtroom. Enrique Tarrio confirmed it was shown to his jury, and weeks later, the realization hit. Those words weren't even real. They were manufactured by a state-funded broadcaster and used to convict American citizens. That's not sloppy journalism. That's evidentiary contamination with real-world consequences. If a jury finds the BBC's manipulation caused reputational harm, legal harm, or contributed to wrongful judicial outcomes, the damages won't just be financial, they will be existential. And Trump has already extracted millions, tens of millions, from YouTube, Meta, CBS, and ABC for coordinated narrative abuse. And now the BBC is next. And this time, the British taxpayer might end up funding Trump's presidential library while watching their untouchable broadcaster permanently lose credibility. And some breaking news on the independent media front, because I do want to speak directly to you, the people who watch our show, share our work, and keep us going every single day. Now, this time of year, especially as we stop and reflect on how grateful we are for this community, none of this is possible without you. Without your engagement, your comments, your prayers, and your support. If you'd like to help us keep fighting, keep producing, and keep telling the truth, the only way independent media can, we deeply appreciate your support at nnn.is/give. It's linked below. And if you can't donate, you can still help in a huge way. Just share the link to this very video with a friend or a family member. Text it to someone who needs the truth today. Those shares make a massive difference for us. We're thankful for you, and we could not do this without you. Now, here's where it gets even more explosive. Britain's establishment is furious. Commentators are melting down on air, calling Trump a bully, calling the lawsuit fascistic, claiming this is an attack on democracy itself. But notice the sleight of hand. The BBC already admitted fault. They apologized. Resignations happened. The only thing left is damages, and that's not authoritarianism. That's how courts work. Brian Stelter whined that Trump is going to war against the news media. No, Brian. The media is being held accountable for their actions. Nice try, though. The same people who demand accountability for misinformation suddenly declare it tyranny when the most powerful broadcaster in Britain is forced to answer for falsifying reality. The headlines are in. When news lies, anyone should be able to sue, even President Trump. BBC's January stitch-up. Trump sues for the truth. Trump dropping the hammer on the BBC $10 billion lawsuit over their January 6th editing job. They stitched two clips together, 54 minutes apart, to make it look like he called for violence. We got a clip from Greg Gutfeld. His point was simple. This was not a mistake. It was deliberate. And they cut out Trump's actual words calling for peace. Trump said, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. I'll be there with you. And we fight like hell. What they left out was, we're going to peacefully and patriotically make our voices heard. And here's why they're panicking. Because of discovery. Emails, depositions, sworn testimony. That's the part the legacy press hates. Will he win $10 billion? Who cares? The point is accountability, forcing the editors to explain it under oath. So let's go to Gutfeld, and looks like they've got Brian Stelter here.
This morning, the BBC.
So President Trump is suing the BBC for $10 billion. In pounds, that's 7 Pritzkers, 4 Hillarys, and a Behar. Yeah. On fire, huh? You know, I bet a year ago it was unheard of for a sitting American president to file a lawsuit against a news outlet.
A year ago, it was unheard of for a sitting American president to file a lawsuit against a news outlet. This never happened before until President Trump returned to office for a second term. And as of this morning, the BBC. So he is charting a new course, trying to take his war against the news media to court. And it's going to be very difficult for him to do so, but he's trying anyway.
So it's just like this constant attack on reporters and media. And when people make mistakes and people get fired and own up to it, that should be acceptable, right? There's no path in journalism where you never make a mistake.
The only problem, lady, it wasn't a mistake. You know, stepping on someone's toe is a mistake, but marinating it in a stew, that's Jeffrey Dahmer. And Stelter, you won't get any sympathy from us. Your network ran the table on lies and hoaxes. The only reason you still have a job is no one wants to clean out your stinky office. So let's quickly recap the story. Last year, the BBC aired a documentary the night before the U.S. election. That's important. In it, they pulled one of the sleaziest editing tricks imaginable, splicing together two Trump clips from January 6th that were 54 minutes apart. You remember this.
They played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut.
Thank you, nice British man. So they removed 54 minutes from the event. With editing like that, you could make The View watchable. So they made it look like Trump was advocating violence when he was calling for peace. Now the BBC has apologized, execs have resigned, heads have rolled, which means they're not saying we didn't do it. They're saying, please don't make us explain why we did it. Because court is where the emails show up. Now legally, Trump's team has a high bar. Since they filed the suit in Florida, they have to show that the BBC's dishonest reporting was aimed at people living in Florida. And as you know, most people in Florida don't watch the BBC. They watch Cops because they are on it. But Trump doesn't care. This isn't about winning $10 billion. If Trump wanted cash, he'd hold Elon Musk upside down over a toilet bowl. This is about exposing a crooked media regardless of where they are in the world. Remember CBS? They settled. And why? Well, because media companies didn't fear losing cases. They feared discovery, depositions, sworn testimony, produced.
President Trump's got it in the bag. President Trump slapped a fake news peddler BBC $10 billion lawsuit because they're deceptively editing his speech from January 6th. BBC admitting to manipulating the footage, pulled the program and turns around and uses your money to fight the lawsuit. BBC's a joke. BBC comes out fighting. Bully Trump's $10 billion lawsuit. How sick. Lawyers planning to grill the president over his role in the riots. You see how they're trying to frame this? That's from the Daily Mirror in the UK. Disgraceful. Trump, the defamation case that could change media. Lou Gray says, I hope he wins, then people can stop chatting in present. I don't know. Here we go. The BBC's reeling right now, facing a $1 to $5 billion lawsuit from Trump. Trump has already gained $25 million from YouTube and Meta. Let's see what Fox is saying here.
16 million has been able to receive out of people who have defamed him. YouTube, wow. 25 million, Meta, 25 million, X, 10 million, 16 million out of CBS, and 16 million out of ABC News and Disney. So he's not giving up on it. And I think he's doing a service to the country when he does this. I don't think it's just about him. He's saying the media, and he said this since the beginning with fake news, right? That's the has been able to receive.
The edited This is Enrique Tarrio. The edited BBC clip used as evidence in the January 6th trial. This is 48 hours ago on Lindell TV. Enrique Tarrio confirming the exact same clip aired by the BBC was shown to his jury, falsely implying President Trump said something he never did.
It affect the jury? We had this conversation when we first knew that this clip was edited just a couple weeks ago. And we were talking about this clip was played at my trial. This exact clip that the BBC played was played at our trial. So not only did it affect the jury pool or affected the president himself, it affected justice, right? And in this case, it was people that were rabid anti-Trumpers in the jury pool. And this did not help the situation at all. By showing those words by the president, I think maybe we might take decisive action against the BBC also. But you also got to think about this, and it's one of the reasons why we're suing the DOJ. The DOJ knew that those weren't the words by the president, and they knew everybody would be fooled by this BBC clip, because it kind of, if you look at it, it kind of looks like it just like flows. It almost looks like one entire clip. And they knew this, and they still brought this forward in front of the jury. And it wasn't, again, until a couple of weeks ago that I figured out that, no, wait, this is not his words. I think they were like 40-something minutes apart. They weren't even close to each other. He wasn't even talking about the same thing.
I just actually thought of it as I'm sitting here right now thinking to myself, wow, President Trump has the case, but even maybe more so, the people who went to jail because of this fabricated evidence is unbelievable to me. So you're confirming that this is the clip that was played at your trial? I didn't know that.
Yes, this was a clip that was played at my trial. No, it's super insane. And I believe it was played at the beginning of our trial, and if I'm not mistaken, here's where I don't know. I believe it was put in there during closing statements. That part I'm not sure of, but I will tell you it was played at our trial.
Right. It's crazy. And we want to play that for the audience really quick, that clip. This was provided by Nick Sorter on X. Not sure if they're going to play what President Trump actually said first or what was edited, but we'll discuss that after. Take a watch of the president's speech and what was fabricated by the BBC by editing right here.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
And there was so much more to it. I mean, I really want to poke more around, and so should you. I know that he also said we're going to peacefully and patriotically, which they completely left out of the BBC version. So the second part is what he actually said, but they didn't even put in the peacefully and patriotically. That first clip is absolutely not what the president said. I was sitting in the second row at the Ellipse watching that speech in real time, and I remember every word of it. I don't even have to go back and look and know that that is completely, obviously being misrepresented and just editing, and not even good editing for that matter. So something that we could talk about, and you should definitely look into, suing the BBC, suing the Department of Justice and those attorneys, those psycho attorneys that literally thought it was okay to use BBC edited footage instead of the actual raw footage, which I'm sure existed and they had in their possession of the president's speech. Is that legal? I don't know. I mean, I know prosecutors do dirty things all the time. So I'm interested to hear what your attorneys have to say about that, Enrique.
We had this conversation.
We're going to find out soon
first...
enough, that's for sure. So let's continue here, because this is the moment that should terrify every legacy media outlet on earth. Trump isn't just suing for money, he's establishing precedent. The era of editing reality, whispering an apology and moving on is over, and the shield is gone. The apology tour doesn't erase harm, and the centralized truth enforcement regime that dominated information for decades is now on the dock, not on the bench. The BBC thought they could rewrite history and just walk away. Trump forced them into daylight. Now a court will decide what accountability looks like, and for the first time, the global press knows that the rules have changed. So what you're witnessing is the collapse of institutional media immunity. For decades, outlets like the BBC operated as if they were untouchable. Edit footage, shape narratives, apologize quietly, and repeat. That model is dying tonight. Trump has proven that lies have price tags, and he's collecting. Same edited clip used to smear him was used to convict Americans in court. Now, that's not journalism, that's weaponization. And here at Next News, we always bring you the truth. And the truth is this: accountability isn't fascism, it's justice. The establishment wants immunity from consequences, and Trump's saying no. And the American people are watching the old guard scramble. So here's my question for you. Should Trump's BBC lawsuit set a precedent for holding all media accountable? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description to gear up and show your support.